It's all about to happen. I've got a script. I got the backing. I got a location. And the will to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Not be the Duke, but he plays the part. He's got the walk and he's got the heart. He's got the talk that gives your mind a start. He is Jake Thorne. When he walks into the room, he can chase away the gloom. When he walks in through the door, you see Jake Thorne. He stands 6'4", stepping through the door. He steps down off the train, he looks like John Wayne, but he is Jake Thorne. He wasn't born. He is Jake Thorne. He'll shed your scorn. He is Jake Thorne.
Hello, we're back again from the View and the show, but please, Jake Thorne, tell us about how you got into this business.
Well, where to begin? About 40 years ago, I was in a British farce. I had just started acting at a small theater in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It was a British farce. I played a British Army sergeant, and after 5 weeks of rehearsals, one of my lines was, and I did it like Cary Grant, "He was only doing his duty for king and country." Well, the night before dress rehearsal, the director, Ted Kistler, who's still there, I asked him, he's giving me a ride home, and I asked him, "Ted, do you think I should do this like John Wayne?" And he said, "Of course," as if he was waiting for me to ask that. And so, dress rehearsal, after 5 weeks in this big cast, I came on and I said, all right, nothing to get excited about. He was only doing his duty for king and country." Everybody died laughing, and so it was a moment. It was a moment that stuck with me, and I went on to take more acting classes, and I'd be reading Willie Loman, Death of a Salesman, and it would come out like John Wayne, and the professor would throw his clipboard down and say, "Not John Wayne, Willie Loman." And guess what? It was a Twilight Zone moment because I couldn't get rid of John Wayne. So it took me a while, but I was able to sound like myself.
Do you think that's because of your uncanny likeness to John Wayne, that you may have been doing it as a child all along? It's really amazing. When I came in and saw you standing here, I thought it was a cutout. And then you actually talked, I said, whoa. So I was just wondering if it was, because of that. I mean, it's really uncanny.
Well, I appreciate that, Diane, but speaking of cutouts, she thought I was a cutout. When I was 10 years old, I'm three-dimensional. When I was 10 years old, I saw a movie called The Angel and the Bad Man with John Wayne in it, and I said, gee, I wish I could talk like John Wayne. If there was only one thing I could do, it'd be talk like him. And well, guess what? I didn't talk like John Wayne. I didn't know. Anyway, down the line, I was 15 years old and had a girlfriend and gave her my picture, and her mother saw it and she said, he looks like a young John Wayne. And it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. Well, farther down the line, I was recording myself and complaining, and I said, sometimes I get depressed when I think about it, and that was like the point.
Turning point.
And so, well, fast forward, I spent 20 years in the government. You can't act like John Wayne very much, and after I retired, I said I wanted to do three things. I wanted to act, write, and paint. Well, I painted all the bedrooms in our new house down in North Carolina. And then I got back into acting, and Mount Airy, I want everybody to go there because Andy Griffith Playhouse is there. I did Shiloh, Shelby Foote's Shiloh, which is a Civil War play, and I played Sheridan. Guess what? How the West Was Won, John Wayne played Sheridan. And I was off and running and did some more plays there. And I said, I'd really like to tell the story of the Duke. And I'm being totally honest here when I say nobody, if you check the internet, nobody is doing a serious story, whether it be a movie or a play about the life of John Wayne, and nobody was doing it. And so I said, by gosh, I'm going to do it. And I've written the play, I've performed it, and I can, well, what you see on the screen is some of the highlights of that play.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
How long is the play, the actual play?
The actual play, it's 3 acts, and it's 80 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it's just about right.
Just right, yeah.
They, in between, while I'm changing my clothes as fast as I can, they're playing cowboy music or asking trivia questions out in the audience. So it's been very well received. A year ago, this guy, my sidekick, and I went out to Lone Pine, California, where over 400 movies have been shot since Silent Time, and over a dozen John Wayne movies. We went out there and I performed it on stage at the Lone Pine Film History Museum, and it was very well received. So I'm going to try to do it in. Well, I'm talking to that little theater I told you about in Michigan, and we're talking about maybe a 4 or 5 week run of doing it there.
That's nice.
That'd be great.
Nice. So,
Jake, I'd like for you to show us the complete John Wayne with your hat on, and we've got a lot to talk about, but I want to see that before.
Yeah, because then people will see what I meant about that uncanny likeness.
well,
Plus, you've got
You've got your gun.
traditional.
let's see what we can do here. I'm a little stiff from just riding in. Okay, we got the 10-gallon hat, which comes in handy. This costume is basically a later's John Wayne costume. The leather vest, the blue shirt, the bandana. He always keeps the tail in it on the left side. Got the 45 here, which in this case is a dummy gun. Now, what other people don't know, if I can get my mic back in here, if you look at any of these John Wayne movies, you'll see the belt buckle. This belt buckle was given to him, well, this is a copy, but it was given to him by Howard Hawks after he did Red River, which was a very successful film. The Duke said about that, if Stagecoach made me a star, Red River made me an actor. And it says Red River, 1948, and it has my character's brand, D for Dunson. But the Duke wore that to remind him that he really was a great actor because of that success. The Winchester got this special loop. This is based on a '93 model, and it's called the Trail's End model. And I don't want to swing it around and knock the lights down, so I'll just show you right here. That's how you cock it. And, that's the business end.
That's great, and we've seen that style with John Wayne over and over, where he would literally handle it with one hand.
Right from Stagecoach.
Yeah.
Seen in Stagecoach. Great.
Yeah.
The reason the tail was always on the left side?
That's just an idiosyncrasy. So you're going to see some of my pictures where it's on the wrong side, and that's a mistake on my part. I've got some pictures here that we will show, but give you a look at this. This is a publicity still from the 80s. While I was doing television, I talked my way into some commercials, and it always stayed with me, but I couldn't do it for that 20 years while I was in the government. So
That's great. But I'll tell you another thing, Dan, if you'd like to. give us your first impression. I don't know whether we're on camera or off camera when you came in and saw him.
Well, that's well what I said, and I didn't mean that you weren't three-dimensional, but it was dark. You were standing in shadow, and I thought, oh, okay, so they brought in a cutout, and it's going to do something, and I'm looking around to see who your guest was. And when you moved, I was startled and in my head I said, oh my gosh, I mean, that was truly uncanny. And when you spoke, you were in John Wayne character, which it was just pretty incredible. Was that Ronnie Howard in that clip?
Well, tail end of it, you know what? I don't know if the part where the Duke talks about Ron Howard is in that clip. I don't think it is.
Okay.
But what I wanted to tell you is, here he was towards the end of his life.
But he did get the opportunity to work with John Wayne.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Ron Howard was in the Shootist with the Duke, and they always wanted to do another film together. The Duke was working on a script called Beau John, where he said, I already got somebody for it. I've got a young kid who wants to be in it with me, and he was in the Shootist. He's smart, grew up in front of a television camera. Ron Howard. And so the Duke was planning on making more films, and I kind of wanted to work that into the play that he loved being on the set, he loved doing films, and he wanted to do more.
He did go fast, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Ron Howard really had a long life in film too. Still there.
Yeah,
yeah,
he went on to bigger and better things. Now, I wanted to say something to you all and to the people out there. I'm not John Wayne. I perform like John Wayne. I'm like so many other people. I miss the Duke, and the difference between myself and the audience is they come to see a representation of the Duke, a performance of the Duke, and I'm coming to see it too. The only difference is I'm on the inside looking out, trying to make John Wayne come to life, and they're coming to the show because they want to see the Duke. Not everybody got to spend 5 weeks with the Duke like this guy here. And so my goal is to tell the Duke's story in his words and to make him come to life. And the only advantage, the Duke is way up here, the only advantage I have is that I'm alive and I can react to you and I can react to the people out there. But he was a great guy. Bill will tell you in that video that you have of him that he was the real deal. And that's why I'm in this business, and that's why I'm trying to recreate John Wayne.
So what you're saying, the difference between an impersonator, because there's a lot of Elvis impersonators, and they no more look like Elvis than the Man in the Moon, except they might have dark hair. And but you have this uncanny likeness, and you're doing the acting. So what do you call the difference between the impersonator and the actor?
You got all the good questions. All right, there's an imitation or an impersonator, and that's good like a joke for about 30 seconds or a minute. But after you go past a certain amount of time, it doesn't work. Now, for me, for me, it has to be a performance. Bert, I appreciate it. Diane, I appreciate it. You got great questions, and I'll tell you, it's great talking to you. And folks, John Wayne isn't dead. He just keeps on getting bigger and bigger, and the country needs him now more than ever. So
thanks
a lot,
John.
Diane.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
It's wonderful.